So I'd like to cover a new feature in Rhino 8, which is the auto-align C-plane option. If I briefly jump over to the Rhino website and look at the new features, we can see that it's described as the ability to have a C-plane orient itself to a flat surface, which should presumably make it more convenient to draw directly on that surface. So over here in this example, we have 4 flat surfaces that are oriented at along different angles, and we're going to activate the auto align C-plane option. So down here at the bottom is auto C-plane. If I click on it, that is enabled, and I should be able to now click on a surface and have the C-plane jump to that surface. I'll click off of it, and there it went back to the default origin. So that's kind of an interesting aspect. So let's click on one and then see what happens when I draw a circle that is drawn directly on that C-plane, and likewise here I can continue doing that without having to make many adjustments. Alright, so that's kind of an interesting feature. Let's look down here on this modifier for a second. So I'm right clicking on it, and I can see currently it's set to align to object, so that's definitely what it's been doing. There is also this option up here, which is sticky autoplane. Let's see what happens when I enable that. So I'll click on it, and sticky auto C-plane will stay on a surface that's been selected, and when I click off of it, it didn't jump back to the default position, it stayed there. So it's kind of sticky in that sense, which if you like that, then it's good to know about. Here, clicking on this surface, you'll see that now it is adapting to the new surface, but clicking off of it doesn't by default jump back to the original C-plane. It'll just stay there, and you can keep modeling. So if you don't mind that, then that's fine. I'm going to uncheck that for now, just to see. So now seeing that I unchecked it, the C-plane returned to its default position, which is down here in the bottom left. So the auto-align C-plane wants to react to flat surfaces, but it can also react to other objects, such as curves. Here I have a selection of different objects. I'm looking at this one right here, which is a polyline. So if I click on it, you'll see that Rhino is able to discern a flat planar orientation for those lines, and so the C-plane gets reoriented. Same thing here with this organic shape, this planar interp curve, and it is planar, meaning flat. There's a flat plane that goes through it, and so it's able to discern a C-plane. Same thing with this one, and same thing with this circle. So that's an interesting feature. On this single individual line, when I click on it, even though it's at an angle, there's no discernible plane that Rhino can derive from that one line, and so it just resorts back to the default C-plane. So you can use curves as C-plane generators, provided that they're flat or planar. You'll notice that functionality doesn't happen with these curves, which are not flat and planar. So Rhino cannot find a flat plane to traverse through those objects, and so it just reverts back to the default C-plane. Alright, here we have a series of objects, and notice that the C-plane is not reacting to these objects just yet. But if we use sub-object selection, which is this feature, which is to hold down Control-Shift on the keyboard. So I'm holding down Control-Shift and then clicking on a surface, which is allowing me to select, part of this cube, this poly surface, and it'll react only to one surface at a time. So if I select 2 or 3 surfaces, it's really just reacting to the first surface I chose. But clicking off of it will revert back to the default C-plane, but I can easily click on different flat planar parts of it to adjust to update the C-plane. On this cylinder, I can do so for the top of that cylinder because it's flat, but if I try to do so on the curved part, it doesn't. That's not something that Rhino can use as a C-plane generator. Alright, so some interesting features, I think, how would you use this in practice? So in this example, we have, I thought of a barrel vault, or a crossing of different geometries to create a space. And so starting with a cube, let's go through and see how we can make use of the auto C-plane option. So we're going to use, let's see, I'm going to switch here to, I switched to ghosted view just so make it a little bit more easy to see. I'm going to hold down Control Shift and click on this first face, and now I'm going to draw this profile for this arc, or this archway. I'll do that with a rectangle to start, and I'm just eyeballing it. This is more to show the functionality of this C-plane. So here I'm clicking near so I can snap to this line, the bottom edge. Click, and then I'm going to draw a circle. So I'm also going to activate the end snap and draw a circle. And here I'm going to actually choose this one, which is 2 point. Click 1, 2. That's one way to draw a circle. And clicking off of it the C-plane kind of reverts back to the original position. Alright, so now let's click on this line. And actually I'm going to make use of the gumball now. I'm just building in a couple of different ways you might go about modeling. So I clicked on the gumball, and with the gumball, this dot here on this blue arrow is the extrude command. So if I click and drag on that, that has created a straight extrusion, which is good. And I'm going to Boolean difference to use that command to cut one object from the other. So the shortcut is BD for Boolean difference, or I can also find that under the solid menu, difference, because I'm operating with solid objects. So click on difference, which is the same as typing in BD. First input is select surfaces to subtract from, so that's going to be this object. Hit enter, click on this one, enter. So I've enabled carve one from the other, and I'll continue with this modeling by extruding this circle, which is going to give me a cylinder. BD, enter, select the cube, enter. So I've carved that out, that's working nicely. And now I want to draw in this other orientation, so I'm holding down Control Shift to select that face, typing rectangle, and drawing a rectangle, typing in circle. And last time I did the 2 point circle, which is fine. I could also, just to show another variation, is just draw it from the middle. And here I'm activating the mid snap, so I can snap from the middle to the end, which is your conventional way of doing it. Select and hold down both of these. I'm just showing a slightly modified version of the same commands and extruding both of these at the same time. BD, enter, select the volume, select these two, enter, and that worked out nicely. I was able to cut those out. So here I'm going to let's just duplicate that. So I'm holding down Alt on my keyboard and dragging on the green arrow. Clicking on that red arrow to just do that same extrusion. BD. Oops. Select the cube, enter. So I've carved both of those out. And then now let's give these a little bit of a skylight. So let's see. Can do circle and snapping. I'll do it circle. I'll do a 2 point circle. I'm actually, because I'm in ghosted view, I can see the midpoints of these, where these arches meet. I can snap there, and that circle, you can see it's actually, that's where it's positioned. I'd like it to be a little bit smaller, so I'm holding down Shift on my keyboard and dragging on the scaling grip, which is that little red or green, either one would work, handle, and then I'm going to click on the blue dot to extrude it and sink that in a little bit. Alright, that's works out nicely. Type in copy so that I can have that be positioned at the same spot. I'm snapping to the midpoint here on this arch so that they're positioned exactly in the same way. BD, enter, and there we have it. So kind of an interesting use of it if you want. If you're working with Rhino 8. I think if it's confusing for you, just turn it off and don't bother with it and just kind of model as you would normally. And last resort, if anything goes awry and you want to reset everything to how it should be normally, this icon here on your standard toolbar, I would click on it twice. So let me just reorient something for a second. So there it is. I'll leave sticky auto on. So there it is. If you want to revert everything back to normal, you can click on this icon, which resets it to the default 4 viewports. The command is 4view, and I would do it twice. And so what it's done is changed all your viewports back to the default 4 viewports, and doing it twice will also reset any of the C-planes that might have been adjusted.